I strongly believe what I tell you today will change a lot, not what I'm doing, yeah? It's changing in our society. And so I try a little bit to go into the details. First of all, the agenda. The first topic is about reimagine. Some will replacing C-level positions, what's happening in the next years. If you believe it or not, good morning. The second is about refocus, yeah? And the third is about reorganize, revisit, yeah? So number one, about reimagine. I will show you, if I have a little bit time, one of the best advertising today in the US about a bank, Capital One. It's amazing, this advertising. I hope I can show you how to reimagine banking. Yeah? Everything is about reimagining today, and we have in some form really to reimagine the number one, what does that mean for a C-level position in the future? Think about this here. We have in the year, I was born 61, April 61, so I'm very young. And the point is that when I was born, it was 3.5 billion people on Earth. Today, we are going close to 8, and we will see in the next 20 years 10. But as you can see, not only the population, it's more what is the innovation, the growth, and the expansion, exponential growth of innovation is here. So we have no clue what that really means. This is amazing what is coming on innovation. It's mind-blowing in some areas. The next thing is about computer, and I'm happy I saw Tremble. Yeah, here we go, Apple. For me, the interesting thing was in my time when we started, and I was one of the first Apple centers in Austria, if you remember. Some of you people maybe remember. The thing was, there was a battle between Microsoft and it's a commodity today. It's a preference. Yeah, nobody cares. Nobody cares what kind of computer you're using, and nobody cares what kind of operating system you use. So this is over. The battle is gone. This is not any longer a topic. The topic is about we have some fights and new are starting. So this is really up to date what I'm here. This was in my time when I started in my IT career in the industry. There were software wars. But you see, maybe you know this guy, Tim Berners-Lee. He is the founder, inventor of the internet. Yeah? And the guy has created a new platform. And I want you that you check it out solid, but the web shifts from its original promise. This is what he's saying. It's time to make a change. And the time of make a change, we can see that today in the newspaper. And I'm not saying this will happen, what the newspaper Die Presse today is writing about Facebook, but we saw the leak that happened on Friday, yeah, the 50 million. And there's new wars coming on. It's amazing what's happening. This is what I'm saying. Out of time, I cannot go into the details. There's so many things to say about that, but we cannot do that. I had two major predictions that I did, yeah? And I want to show you that, and you see the other prediction that I'm doing today. I did a study about open source software for the labor market in the year 2003. It was a big stuff that I did, and I was presenting this with the IKT chef, I can't remember his name anymore, in Café Landmann. And besides that, there were from Microsoft Thomas Lutz, and he was fighting with me. It was amazing, yeah. And he said, "Oh, never ever things will happen in that." So we will see that in a second. And the other prediction I did, it's exactly 10 years ago when I was publishing my book, The IT Revolution, and there were 10 theses on that, yeah. And I was not knowing at that time, but in the same year, he published this book. And believe me or not, he's changing the world. And we're not even knowing who he is. Yeah? Maybe he's an acronym, but the point is he is the founder, and with his mind, I know that a lot of people have only used blockchain technology for gambling, as every good technology at the beginning sometimes is used in some areas for gambling. Maybe you remember when people were using URLs and were making a lot of money. Today, nobody gives a shit what kind of URL you have, and you cannot earn money with that. But some companies paid for a .com 20 years ago a lot of money. Today, nobody's doing that. The same is with Bitcoin, but at the end of the day, blockchain technology will change a lot in our lives, and we will see about that. Yeah? So the point is, Microsoft, as my battle with Thomas Lutz almost 18 years ago, or 15 years ago, acquired this year, a couple months ago, one of the biggest open source platforms in the world, 28 million programmers, 85 million projects, for $7.5 billion GitHub. So the company who was fighting with me 15 years ago that it will never come buys the biggest open source platform in the world. It's just funny, yeah? And the other thing is about what's happening technically is exactly this. We are moving towards human experience. That means everything is what we try to do is to substitute in some form and to leverage the human five senses. And there's more and more projects in that area. It's amazing. And we will see that. It's in the technology. So look out and watch out what is happening in that area. Big substitution is happening. Big mergers are coming. And I hope that your industry is not in the horse industry. Because you see, this is it is fast, but it's not too fast, the going down, compared to the cars. Yeah? I think and I predict that some is going so fast because we have this technology. You can be out of business faster than you think. And the substitution is coming quickly, also in Austria, yeah? Because we are not isolated. So, if you're in the horse business, you're out of business, as we know. Yeah? Kodak was pretty much out of the business, and it was not expected because they even invented the digital camera. The same was, who has a BlackBerry from you guys?
Not anymore.
Not anymore, yeah. So there is a lot of things going on in that area. So there is additional challenges for the C-level as never before. And it's not only AI, it's not only security and privacy. Even I believe that the whole GDPR stuff is forget it. I could speak about that, and we are GDPR compliant, but it's a different thing. The blockchain technology is amazing, and don't minimize it for bitcoins or for cryptocurrencies. Yeah, it's about our contracts, smart contracts. It's about our birth certificates, about our other legal stuff. There is so much coming in that area, and we will see that. And our Internet of Things, our robotics and cybernetics principles. You know, cybernetics principles is from the MIT Institute. It has to do a lot with the science of simplification. Everything in technical area has to be simplified because we cannot comprehend it anymore. So the thing is really happening. We are already a society of complexity, and as here the CEO of Accenture was saying, if you don't understand digital, you're out of business, and you go out of business. So my first prediction is, if you are a CEO or in C-level and you don't know digital processes and what it makes, you're out. You're gone. It's just a question of time. Maybe you hold your power, but you're gone. What you can do? Well, you can go back and learn, study, and really dive into that, but it's almost impossible to understand the processes that we need. I know that a lot of people don't want to hear that, but our first prediction. Second prediction is about reprioritize your CRM strategy. A lot of people proclaim that. What is the proclamation on that? The custom is in the middle. So Ronald, don't get me wrong right now. I was in Santa Monica. No, I was in, it was Santa Monica. And I felt I'm a very smart guy, okay? I felt, yeah? So I was going to the internet and bought a new iPhone and paid with my credit card, yeah? and I got a receipt. You should be there at the Apple Store at 5:30 to 6 o'clock on Wednesday night last week, and you can pick it up immediately. So I said to my wife, okay, I do this, okay, I'm driving there. Yeah. So I drove there to the Apple Store. There was a lot of people, and I was in line. So I was in the first line, and I was standing there, and I was standing there in line, and then it took me a while before the lady asked me what I need, and I put out my paper and said, I'm picking up my iPhone, yeah? And she said, oh, I'm so sorry, there's 2 lines out there. I said, well, why? I'm just picking it up. She said, yeah, the one line is for the people they pre-ordered, and the other they showed up. And then she said, it's 2 to 1. We want to be legitimate nice to the people that are coming, so you have to wait again. So I'm back there. I was standing there for, I don't know, for an hour or so, waiting for getting my iPhone because I pre-ordered it and paid even. Yeah? So at the end of the day, as you see, I was, and if Apple is not 100% getting it right, how many other companies getting it right? This is my point. I'm not blaming Apple. Yeah? The 45 minutes is not too bad to stay there. I was playing with the new iPhones. Yeah? But the point is, how many companies are not getting it right and having the prediction, we are customer-centric. Yeah? Wait up. When you show up the first time and they ask you, what's your name? What's your address? And you say, hey, 3 times already. Why you still don't know it? This is next prediction. Every company, not one, every company needs a CRM. Why? Do you know one company who has not a tax system for taxes? Is it possible? No, it's not possible. Is it possible to have a company without a computer? Is it possible? No. Is it possible to work without an internet browser? No. Every company needs a CRM. It depends which one, yeah? But every company has accounts, company names. Every company has contacts, activities, leads, opportunities. So this is the core, the heart. This is not an addition, it's the heart of everything. And that's the battle that we are fighting right now. So overcoming critical obstacles to make that happen. So the first is, for every company around the world, is about get data from one and more resources in a single process. Yeah? Now it gets a little bit technical, but I'm trying to make it simple. This next is multi-step, because you see, when someone is coming and you create more complex workflows, so there's a complex workflow. If I'm order an iPhone, I'm coming there, I'm standing in line normally, yeah, if we just visualize that only this one thing, yeah, and multi-push workflows, that means post and create data in one or more sources in a single process. How you do that? The next is about bidirectional syncing, because sometimes you want that the data going in both directions, back and forth, yeah. And finally, if you have multiple applications, you want one key, and not every time you are registered to the same application and you have maybe 10 applications, you just want one single sign-on in that area when you have a process. So the illusion is that one solution can figure that all. I took one of our competitors so that it's not saying what we do. Here you have HubSpot. And this is the HubSpot world. They are connected. HubSpot is a marketing automation tool for marketing. Yeah? Someone have heard about them? Yeah? And you see here the connectors. So it's not possible anymore to think all in one solution. It's an illusion. Yeah? And I know because there is today, this is 7,000 applications. You cannot even read the categories anymore because there are so many. So how you can create a all-in-one solution, it's an illusion. So I know that the people, after so many apps were coming out, they were saying, oh no, this is too many. Yeah? So let's go back to their all-in-one solution approach. But we are telling the best of breed is the future. Why? Because you see, if you're in one area a specialist, you're getting better. Well, it's the old story of Adam Smith. Yeah? Or when you do one thing, you get better in the one thing. You cannot do all things at the same time. Quite good as others. And so I want to lead you right now how you overcome that and what is the next thing that happens. So in the old days, you had connectors. You had then APIs. And this is the new form of general, we call it GAP, general automation platforms. Yeah? And what was the old, when everything started, and some of us experiencing this still today. There is one thing that every person is experiencing that when you travel. What John was experiencing yesterday, I me too, it is with the power supplies. When you travel, you have connectors. Yeah? And sometimes it's irritating. I was arriving in Sydney, and the first thing that I did at the airport, because they have just a connector, I had to buy a connector because I had another connector from my power supplies. Yeah? Thanks to Apple, we have the technology that we don't need another our technology with the connector to convert the energy. But at the end of the day, this is the problem. In the old sense was when you had a database, and we were one of the first companies that were really writing connectors with our developing team, and we were doing that with our algorithms about our pattern recognition system. The software was called Autonomy, was sold into HP. And our Autonomy had connectors to databases, yeah, DB and whatever. And it was point-to-point, one-to-one. Yeah? So you have connectors, but at the end of the day, it's a one. I don't know if we will get solve this problem one day. I don't know. I'm not in that business. But the point is, people were programming then application process interfaces, APIs. Yeah? And why? Because the people said, oh my goodness, yeah? If there is a software and there is a software, why we have not an interface, programming interface that programs from one side to the other side, and that they can talk to each other. Simplified this explanation. And so, but for that, you need programmers. Not super smart ones. For creating the APIs, you need smart ones, but not for putting one API with another API. But you need programmers. Yeah? And therefore, people were saying, oh gosh, this is not good. What is the next thing? And the next thing was to create middlewares. So there were coming a couple of middlewares to create from one to the others. Yeah? And I give you here in a couple of examples. Different platform providers. Yeah? PySync, Zapier, I don't know if you have heard about them, TIBCO. And they are providing connectors so that you can connect with them. But when you connect with them to another software, you have to have some programmers. You need programmers. So the people were sitting in the open source community and other communities and saying, wow, that makes no sense. Maybe there is another way to do that to make it even the next evolution. Yeah? And what was the next evolution? That was general automation platform. That's happening today. Who has heard about that already? None of you. Yeah, you. OK, one person. Gaps enable companies to do things that couldn't done before. And the point is in that area, streamline processes, and at the end, the flow of data. So the point is, the gaps, yeah, helping companies to overcome multiple APIs in one stream, in one area, in one platform. And our Salesforce did the biggest deal this year, 3 months ago, for $6.5 billion. They bought, as you can see here, I put that in, MuleSoft. Yeah? And the interesting thing is, this is even from the website of Salesforce, this is how it works to build high-quality APIs integrating. Why I'm saying that? Because we have the same, and we're going even a step further. And we have not invested $6.4 billion. Yeah? And therefore, I say you have to reorganize. So second prediction was, without the CRM system, your company will be dead. You have to make that. You have to make this decision, and you cannot delegate this decision to any outsourced company. It's a C-level decision. It's the highest decision. Think for a moment, if you move your company from one place to another, would you outsource that as a CEO? Let's say you're moving from Vienna to Singapore. Who makes the decision? Ronald. It's a C-level decision. Why? The biggest decision is the infrastructure of a company. Would everybody agree? The infrastructure of a company. It's the biggest decision that the C-level has to do. So you cannot outsource that. And so if you don't really go into the details, you make a wrong decision. So this is the second prediction. The prediction is here about how your flow of data and processes are working. So I think everybody would hopefully agree that the data is the lifeblood of every organization. The data. Everything is about data in the future. The correct data flow is crucially important. If the data is incorrect, well, you're in problem in every area. If it's what you have in stock, or when it's the invoicing, or it's about your customer support data, whatever it is, the data is important. Between the system and the people, internal and external, the data flow has to be seamless, easy. And the different today makes you a competitive advantage. If you're in a hyper-competitive market, you really have the data correct. It's a different thing if I'm coming here. Can you imagine if I come here, I'm almost 6 years in the Ritz, because I stay always here. And the first thing, if I come in, they have prepared everything because it's great. I'm not going anywhere. Why? Because they know me. I have not to explain everything. It's easy for me. They do everything for me because I'm a loyal customer. And the first thing when I'm arriving is, hey, great to have you back, Mr. Kimla. And everything is prepared. This is what your customer is also expecting, or you expecting when you go somewhere. The same is time, cost, and energy. If you are integrating other systems and you want to integrate this data flow, normally it's very expensive when you make changes. Because in the old days, you were integrating, and what you need someone who is sitting there and analyzing what we want, what kind of workflow we want with the data. Then you need coders who program that. Then you need an integration company, or you need a consultant who helps you. And this is why most companies not getting it right today, with multiple applications to integrate in one workflow. I hope I'm not speaking above or anyone, but this is what's happening. So maybe this is an experience that you have too. So here you come with your package and you want to cross it. This is typical what's happening with your data. The process is inefficient. Different parts don't not work, and they're not syncing. They're not really syncing with each other. So collaboration and flexibility is the future. This is what we need. We need working seamless. I'll give you another example. I was flying in this summer from Paris to Munich, and with the Air France. And the point is, I was landing and at the airport in Munich, and we were on time. Everything was perfect, and the luggage was there, and we saw the luggage out there on the field of the airfield. And we were waiting, and nobody was coming. No one. Nobody was coming. And then we asked the lady and said, "What's happening? We see our luggage, it's there." And she said, "It's an outsourced company." And I said, "Oh, it's now 20 minutes. After 1 hour, all the people in the airport got really angry. After 1.5 hours, can you imagine what happened there? And the outsourced company was not collaborating with them because they had a problem. And she was sitting there and said, what was my experience with Air France? Think about that. So synchronizing is critical. And you need to do that quickly and easy in the future. Therefore, we call that our workflows, and we created that, John and I, we call it efficiency flows. And here we have a process that you can later on see how efficiency flows goes, but this is very complex. And that has to be seamless, easy. And we were going, compared to Salesforce and to MuleSoft, where you need programmers, and where Salesforce invested $6.4 billion to buy this additional company. We do that in an automation hub, what we released a couple weeks ago, with no admin, no coding, all connecting to all apps there in the world, mapping simple workflows, cross departments. And I was showing you how this works so that you get a little bit of feeling. So it's mapping technology. It doesn't need any longer any programmer. It needs some knowledge. I admit to that, but it's not programming. And you can learn that for people at the university. It's simple. And you map the different workflows. Let's say a webhook with how you want that, a trigger, it's coming in, and you say when an email comes in, how this is connected, and then you send something over, and you create really efficiency flows in that area. So building efficiency processes and effective in that area. Countless organizations choose not to go with the best apps because they cannot optimize that. So we believe it's going backwards again. Flexible automation, or building your tools around your process instead of building the processes around your tools. And so our predictions in that area is if you cannot build processes in your company, whatever it is, if you're in banking, private banking, if someone comes in and he wants to have a personal relationship, and you want immediately to see his portfolio, all of it is a process. Everything is a process today. It's not only on the airports, it's everywhere. Yeah? And they have to be seamless, easy, and they have to be flexible because they are changing. Why? Because your competitors are changing. Your competitors are constantly changing. So if you have a process and that is static, and you need a lot of resources where the people go back and you have to change it, forget it. So processes has to be simple, easy, fast to adopt, because our society is flexible and constantly changing. If you don't do that, you will be out of business. And so I summarize my prediction in that area. If you are not really understanding digital process, you will be out of business. CRM is the core operating of everything, and you have to make it a high-level decision. I strongly believe that every company has to be green in the future. We are the companies to push that forward, because we cannot wait that the state is getting green. We have to get green. It's our responsibility to be sustainable, agile, and you have to understand the best of breed of SaaS. Without cloud, you're out of business. Yeah? Next prediction if you want. And if you don't know digital workflows in your company, believe me, you're running out of business. I know some people may be saying, oh no, this is too much. If you really dive into that, you will probably agree. And think about that, what I was doing 15 years ago when I predicted open source will change a lot in our industry. And now Microsoft bought it for $7.5 billion. That's a lot of money. I would have it. It would be not bad. I think, I hope this gives you a little bit an insight on a lot of content.